All right, folks, with me now I have a great guest. You know him from a whole series of different movies. I want to talk about his new upcoming movie called 50 to 1. With me is Skeet Ulrich. How are you, Skeet?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for fitting us in. I want to get right to this. It's a very interesting movie because it's dealing with the real-life Cinderella story of Mind That Bird, the Kentucky Derby winner that went off at 50 to 1. And tell me a little bit about the story and what, particularly in the script, really attracted you to this film.
Well, as you said, it is the adventures of the owners and trainer of Mind That Bird, and how he even got to the Kentucky Derby in the first place, considering he was such a long shot even outside of that race in general. I mean, he was had enough claim wins in Canada to be invited to the Derby, much to the surprise of his owners. It's just it's a story full of heart, and I think in our day and age, we're all looking for a little something to pick us up by the bootstraps when things are dim, and the economy's certainly not helping a lot of people. And I think it's a story that reminds us to stick to our dreams, and you never know what may happen. And I read the script, and then as soon as I started doing the research, I was in tears. I couldn't believe the heart of this animal, and then the people that got him there. And I think we all feel a bit of an underdog in our lives, and I know I certainly do most of the time. And it's a nice reminder of sticking to your guns.
You play Chip Woolley, that's the trainer, and you spend some time on crutches in this film. That's got to be a little bit of a challenge.
It's a bit of a challenge, especially when you're doing scenes with thoroughbreds who find crutches very odd, and so they're very what's the right word? They're very edgy animals. There's a kinetic energy about them that makes it difficult at times to work opposite them. Obviously I spent a lot of time around Chip, and got a lot more comfortable than I started. But they're different than most breeds. They're just unpredictable. And then you put the crutches in front of them, and they become more so. But it's not physically the easiest thing to do, especially when Jim throws you challenges like, all right, carry this bag to the hotel and talk on the cell phone while you're on crutches.
Good luck with that, right?
Yeah. I see why he did it now that I see the scene, but I was like, what? How?
So tell us a little bit about what it's like working with Jim. Obviously, he's been a producer for many, many years, producer on Dances with Wolves and some other just absolutely amazing films. And how does Jim's approach on set?
He's very relaxed, very focused. He's very actor-friendly. I think we were on the same page from, moment one, and he's very collaborative, which is something you always hope for. He's open to any ideas, and yet has his ideas, and it was a great working experience. In fact, we've become really good friends and have even ventured out into the wilderness together, 11 miles deep with backpacks. And I'll sum up his personality by saying that he got a blister within about an hour of backpacking, and we had many, many hours to go up a pretty steep mountain with 40-pound packs, and he never stopped smiling, even though his feet, I know, must have been killing him.
Wow.
So he perseveres, let's just say that, and I think this is indicative of that, making this movie the way he made it, releasing it the way he's releasing it. It's almost perfect for the story we're telling, this sort of underdog making and release of the film.
We're talking to Skeet Ulrich about 50 to 1. It's a new film that opens on Friday. It's a kind of a biography of Mind That Bird and the amazing thoroughbred story, winning the Kentucky Derby, runner-up at the Preakness, third at the Belmont, of a horse that and many people at the time didn't even think would belong in this kind of race. So it's an amazing story, and you work with really a really cool cast. You have a lot of great scenes, I think, with Christian. So tell us what it's like to work with him.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. He and I have been friends for a long time. We did Into the West together many years ago, and he actually played my nephew in it. which was a bit odd, but the storyline moved forward, and he was in sort of the latter part of the series, and I was in the beginning of it. And we've stayed in touch all those years. So as soon as Jim told me that Christian was going to play Mark, and I knew the friendship on screen would be simple and easy. And he's a fantastic guy. He's incredible in the film. He's a lot of fun to be around, and I think we have so much in common as part of the reason we've stayed friends so long. And I really look up to him. I mean, he's done a lot of varied things through his life and career, and it's just a force of nature. I mean, he's an incredible human being.
Well, speaking of doing a lot of different things in your career, let me switch gears, and I don't know what you can say, but I just will throw it out there for you because I know you're working on another film in 2015. It's slated to come out, and that's Lost in Austin, which has a very odd and funny premise. I don't know if you can give people a little bit of a feel for the idea what this story is about.
Well, it's ultimately about. I guess the message is about our obsession with fame in America and success through that, and it's set in a family, particularly a mom of a pageant girl. Her daughter's in beauty pageants and whatnot, and it's not going very well. So she has her daughter kidnapped by an ex-boyfriend to hide her away for a month and get the book rights and the movie rights and the money and the fame. And Linda Cardellini plays the mom, and she's just incredible. And we had such a blast. I know for sure I filmed the funniest scene I've ever filmed. And Craig Robinson's in it, and he's fantastic. And Christian Shaw and Jamie Presley has a scene in it, and it's an incredible film. Made for very little money, but it was everybody's love of the script, which was amazing. And it starts off as this sort of broad comedy, and then gets rather heated by the end. It's a passion project for sure. We'll see what happens with it. But
I love films that have such a good social commentary, and now in the age of reality TV and like you say, this whole 15 minutes of fame thing, this movie sounds like it's really jabbing at the heart of that a little bit.
It is, and it's just, a lot of times you don't want to stand on the soapbox, and they certainly figured out a way to say it without, hitting it on the nose. And then, sometimes people will accept things like that under the guise of humor more than they will with something that's trying to be realistic or dramatic. So I think they're onto something for sure. And it was, definitely a script that was touted around town, and I was so excited to be a part of it.
It's funny because you've been doing so many different things in film and TV over the years and that kind of thing. You still got people coming up to you while you're eating out and remembering you from Scream or some of the other shows. What do people come running up to you to do? They say, "Hey, listen, can you say this line or say that line?" Or
usually it's like, "Can you take out the garbage for me?" I'm like, it seems like Scream is certainly still in the forefront of people's mind, and Jericho, of course. Occasionally The Craft, and every once in a while somebody will mention Touch, which was one of my favorite films early in my career, and I'm surprised people had even seen it, to tell you the truth. I've been around so long now, you get varied responses, and to be honest, most of the time people just don't even know, who I pay me a second glance, they don't know who I am, and
you get that look of, I know who that guy is, but I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, exactly. Like they start thinking, like, did we go to high school together? Or they can't quite place how they know you, and that's kind of cool. I guess that means I've varied things enough that people can't quite pinpoint it, and but yeah, I think Scream is at the height of most people's interest.
Well, there's no way to know when you guys were making a film like that, and Wes was trying something so different, and like, almost like what you're saying about poking at society, poking at horror films, to realize that it would start to rejuvenate a genre and change it forever. So to be a part of that, I guess, you really can't wipe that out of your resume, no matter how much, even if you wanted to. It's too embedded in our culture, right?
Yeah, it really is, and you're right. It really did turn that genre around and made it. People started seeing dollar signs inside the industry once they saw what Scream was doing. Yeah, it's great to have been a part of it for sure.
Well, you mentioned Jericho, and I'd probably be crucified by some of my business partners and my family, because we've been following Jericho for years. And it's one of those things where if this show happened now, you'd be like The Walking Dead. This show is it was so well written, especially in season 1. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And you probably still have people coming up and calling you Jake and wanting to talk about the show.
Yeah, I think Netflix has given new life to a lot of things. If somebody missed it, now they're catching up on it and seeing it as if we just filmed it, and it was an incredible group of people. I mean, a lot of times in this business you lose touch with people because you're going different directions all the time, but that's a group that, I've stayed in touch with consistently over the years, and we've all stayed friends, and including Turtle Tab and Kareem's Rake. In fact, they just asked me to direct a feature for them.
Oh, cool.
I directed my first short film and showed them a rough cut of it, and they were like, "We want you to direct something." So they gave me a script, and we're in the middle of figuring that story out and moving forward with it. But yeah, we've all stayed in touch and stayed really close, and I think that speaks to what a special group of people it was, and remains and still is. So yeah, I was very fortunate, and I agree. The first season was incredibly well written. The second season, we lost a lot of the key components because we were canceled, and those people went on to other jobs thinking it was over. And then, when they reassembled whatever team was left, and they knew they were going to truncate that story so much just to wrap it up, it was a bit disheartening. We knew we had much better story to tell than what we were left to tell. But that's the business, unfortunately. Sometimes
it may want to be Jericho 20 years later. Who knows? We'll be having you back. I've always wanted to see the sequel to Jericho would be set in a different city to see it play out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know it would be hard to get all of you guys back and kind of pick up. So it's like, all right, well, let's run it again, and instead of being in Jericho, Kansas, let's be in someplace in Mississippi or something, and kind of you're playing it out in the same scenario. And anyway, just a thought for that. So
that would be fun, and we could have really good accents. Like, I think there was a bomb that went off somewhere.
Well, a whole different survival techniques, I guarantee, in the bayou, my friend.
Exactly.
Jake might not have lasted as well had he been in the bayou with the crocs and the alligators, bro.
There's a lot of fun to be had there.
I want to wrap up. You've got a lot of great TV appearances and things like that. I mean, you voiced a G.I. Joe guy on Robot Chicken, bro. You got all sorts of crazy stuff on your resume. I know. It's one of those things where I watch it and I'm like, who is that? And then I look it up. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. He's on there too. So, you were a kill. I love your arc on CSI. I think it's the New York version, right?
Yeah.
That was a good arc. I like that one.
That was dark. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I've known Gary Sinise many years. We did Kevin Spacey's directorial debut together, Albino Alligator, many years ago, and he's a delight to work with. And yeah, that was a unique character for sure.
Well, I hope that we can keep in touch, that I can find out more about Lost in Austin as it hits, and we're going to keep promoting. I'll link to the trailer, folks, in case you haven't seen the 50-1 trailer, and get out this weekend to support this film. I just love feel-good films anyway. I'm a bit of a sucker that way. I guess I got little kids, and you just kind of get that way, and it's a good film. It seems like it's really going to tear at some of those heartstrings and really just make you feel good inside. And I think we all kind of need a little dose of that. So, do you?
Absolutely, it's nice counter programming to what we're typically thrown in.
Absolutely. Are you much into all this social media stuff? You give out like links to Facebook and Twitter and all that.
I'm only on Twitter at SkeetMe1.
All right, Skeet Me One. We'll link to that, folks, if you want to kind of keep up with what Skeet's doing. I'm sure he Skeet's, every now tweet a photo of himself or something like that. I don't know. This thing's
Everyone's
blowing up like crazy. I can't even keep up sometimes.
And I'm here in New York shooting a pilot for NBC. I play twins, and so that's going to be a lot of fun. One is a priest, and the other one's a heroin addict. So,
well, it seems like that's the road that most twins take. So, yeah.
Oh, I know, exactly. You got to get attention somehow.
All right. Well, there's another story that we can get together and look forward to Skeet in a, heroin addict and priest twins. You do not see that on a resume very often in life, so you cannot deny the opportunity to play that. Well, thank you again for fitting this in your busy schedule, and just enjoy, and we'll be looking out for, 50 to 1 this weekend. Lost and Ostis coming after that, and we'll keep an eye on you. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you, Brandon.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.